Hey everyone, welcome to the Your Money Your Life podcast, episode 227. I like the lighting here. It's a new day, new episode. Before we get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, 5-star rate, and review the podcast wherever you're listening to it. YouTube, you can also do the same thing and make sure you leave comments and be subscribed on YouTube. Let's dive right into it. We have a lot to cover. First and foremost, we'll get into what's going on in the market. The market update really consists of a few things. A June outlook, really, the market has actually had a pretty strong start to June. So let's dive into what's been going on in the market in the current month and week, like we always do. So pulling up the S&P 500 ETF and look at the past 5 days, about 2%, past month, about 4%, a year to date, a little bit over 13%. So again, so far in 2024, the market is still bouncing off of that 2023 long recovery and doing well in 2024. So people must know, again, we've done that chart, we've looked it over plenty of times that even when the markets go down, they have to go up more percentage wise than they went down to have you even break even. So a lot of people seeing all these green numbers, almost starting to set in, and all these different things about different stocks they might hear. We'll talk about that in the roundtable. But before we get into the roundtable, we'll dig more into individual stocks. Talking about hot stocks, Apple. So those market cap is pretty much the value of a stock in the public markets. It takes outstanding shares times the share price. And Nvidia just crossed 3 trillion and leapfrogged Apple to become the US stock market's second most valuable company. It closed on a record high, and people are starting to look at the valuation of Nvidia versus Apple. So if you think about it, they had numbers here. I want to see if we can find those numbers. But Nvidia has a lot less revenue, a lot less earnings than Apple, but the same market cap. So people are wondering, all right, is Nvidia now overvalued, or is it just based on investors' growth expectations for Nvidia that they'll some point reach those numbers? So you're looking at some of the biggest companies in the world now. And a lot of the big tech companies are building their own chips. So how much of the NVIDIA chips will be needed in the future? So that's the big thing right now. These AI chips, NVIDIA, one of the big companies for leading this AI rally because they have a lot of the chips and they're able to make them and they're able to sell them. And the stock is doing really, really well right now. So they talk about a lot of the employees that join the company. Of course, all tech companies or most tech companies, public ones, give out stock options, grants, and it looks like that a lot of the Nvidia folks that joined have seen obviously a tremendous rise in their stock option grants over the past several couple of years here. So that's leading to people being like, all right, if you get enough money and you aren't really passionate about what you're doing, would you quit, try something else, do something else? So they might have an employee problem if the stock just keeps going gangbusters like it has been. So that's something that's been talked about. A stock that's been beat up and is now trying to have a recovery, Lululemon. So Lululemon, it's a stock that, of course, we know what athleisure wear is, and it has a lot of competition. You got Aloe, you got Skims, you got all these different places, Under Armour, Nike. And so Lululemon was a hot stock for a while, but now as of recently, it's been beaten up. But they did have a good earnings call. They upped their annual forecast, and they also have a buyback program of 1 billion buying back shares. So they think they're still a dominant force in the athleisure market, and they want to contend with Aloe, Vero, and other social media like trends, and even the trends that are changing. Is athleisure still a thing? I think so. I think it's great, but I don't know how women's trends change so very often. I don't know how much, but they do change. Maybe they're switching to something else. Maybe they're switching to Skims like shapewear. I don't know, but Lululemon is a company that is trying to fight those battles right now. Another company or organization, I should say, that is bidding and doing battle right now is the NBA and its different broadcasters for the NBA rights. So we know that Boston Celtics, Dallas Mavericks start tonight. That's the NBA championship final for 2024. I'm picking Boston Celtics because every time I go with my intuition in basketball so far this year, it's always wrong. My intuition says the Mavericks will win because they're just like the hotter team. But I feel like that means that Boston's going to win. So I'm picking Boston. So the NBA is we've been talking about the last few weeks. They're in advanced talks to reach a deal for their broadcasting rights. This deal is gonna bring in 76 billion in revenue projected over 11 years. So of course, to broadcast these games, you have to pay for it. And so um, the NBA right now is talking to different distributors, NBC, Amazon, ESPN, and they're saying that there's going to be a crazy deal between all those three: NBC, Amazon, ESPN. Of note, gone Warner Bros, Discovery, TNT. They used to have the rights to have a great show with Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny and Ernie, but that show's going to be gone because Warner's losing the rights. For some reason, they're not even part of this package deal where they're splitting different rights and packages for billions of dollars. They're not going to be a part of it, which is crazy because they had rights for what, the past 5, 10 years. And so they're losing the rights. And the NFL is going to also be up for just new rights contract. And so what this does, this pool of money that goes into rights, called basketball related income or NFL related income. It's going to go into a pool of money that increases the salary cap for teams, which increases play for teams. Because if your salary cap increases, you can pay players more, which increases how much players can make. So it's interesting stuff. That's trickle down stuff. It's why you're going to see astronomical numbers on the NBA side for salaried players. You're going to see even more astronomical numbers as well on the NFL side. But the NBA numbers are going to get astronomical. You're talking 70 million per year, 80 million per year. You're going to see probably your first 100 million per year deal in the next, 4 or 5 years on the NBA side, right? Maybe 6 years. So that's crazy, crazy numbers. But you're going to see that. Um, of note, you have, see what else we have here. Let's go to our other areas. We do have some more news that I wanted to touch on. There was an Instagram um, story. Yes. So Instagram, they're trying to do unskippable ads now. So you already see it sandwiched between your friends. So if you're flipping through, then all of a sudden you see something that looks kind of, organic, but it's actually an ad. And people are saying you might not be able to scroll past them. Meta has actually confirmed it's testing unskippable ads on Instagram after a user posted a screenshot of this experience. So meaning you won't be able to skip past it. You'll have to watch it. It's just another way for you to another way for advertisers to get in there and pay for this advertising. Um, Insta's calling it ad break, because it's funny because you obviously won't get a break from the ad, but you'll be forced to watch it. But it's a break from your feed because you'll have an advertisement within them. So all this stuff is important to note about how people are advertising, how big companies are doing it. I think TikTok does it, but you can skip it. And now they're going to try to do it where it's unskippable, similar to some of the YouTube ads that you see that are unskippable. So that'll be interesting. I'm going to be watching that closely, to see what else we get there. So FFA greenlights Amazon drones. Interesting enough, but not interesting to me. Disney DeSantis feud, that was like a year or two ago, but not that interesting to take another dive into it. Did we talk already about what we saw in June? So the CPI report's coming. The government's going to release the CPI report on next week, Wednesday. Again, the consumer price index is going to tell us a little bit more about how inflation is trending, what we can expect. The markets might react. So that'll be a good thing to watch. Of course, we have the the jobs report coming out tomorrow, 8:30. And that's going to be a look at, where jobs are heading, where's the market heading, when it comes to jobs. So we'll have a close eye on that, as well. Of note again, so this is the June. We're looking at markets and we're understanding what's happening, as far as there's also a Fed meeting, the dot plot. This will show their expectations for the Fed's funds rate for all the FOMC board members. They will have that, as well. That's going to be on Wednesday. So we have a lot of things going on. I wouldn't say it's a crazy week, but the market's reacting in kind and doing decently so far again, so far this year. But begs the question: is the market running too hot? Things too exuberant, especially stocks. It's really just the big names, big tech names, different things pulling the market forward. And so that's of note. When's enough? When does the market take a breather? That's going to be the next question, especially as we go into summer, which can sometimes be a slow time for the market. Now, roundtable. The big thing I want to discuss is understanding that, right? Understanding the fact that there are record high numbers in the market, record high numbers in the S&P 500. Does that beg the question, when will the market take a breather? You even seen meme stocks, GME, Roaring Kitty, all those people start to come back. When do people, one, realize again, the market is not a tool uh, for betting in the long term, right? So I mean, probably good discussion. You're going to see a lot more people being interested in investing, not understanding what's going on. Just might have heard a stock or heard something in a headline, and they just want to jump in, and they think that okay, just because I bought something, it's supposed to go up million dollars because someone told me it did for them. Which again, cautioning people on understanding what the market is. It's not a there's no luck thing that's going to happen, right? Like a long-term investor understands that. So if you're hearing all this stuff, if you're hearing stuff about NVIDIA, all that stuff, good that your ears are peaked up. But again, understand that the tool, if you want to bet, like the sports betting apps all over, you should just download them and just bet, right? Like that's another way to do it. If you also want to bet short term in the market, don't be expecting that it's just going to yield incredible wealth just because you bet, right? Understanding what the market's actual functionality is going to be crucial during these times because you see a lot of people quiet, market's doing well, a lot of everyone's quiet, but as soon as there's downturns or different things that they don't expect or wasn't forecasted for them, which should be, then you'll see the noise pop up again. So everyone take breathers, relax, remember your long-term goals, not the short term. Because all these blips, if you look back at the history, all the blips, you no longer think or talk about them. It's always just an anxiety-ridden thing for a lot of people that don't fully understand what the market's about. So that was just a quick roundtable, getting people's mindset shifted back. Folks, another fun day for the Your Money Life podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, 5-star rating, review, pass along to your family and friends because we do this every week, and we will see you next week.